Hi, my name is Ida and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that are going to be released in the last half of the year that I am super excited about. I feel like there are some really strong books coming out and I'll try to do them in order, but bear with me. So one book that has already come out is Daybreak by Autumn Woods, because this came out by the end of July, and this is the second book to the Sorrow Song University. So if you have read the first one, it's called Nightshade. This is the second book and it is going to be a duology as far as I'm aware. So I am so excited to jump into this one. I gave the first book 5 stars and I do plan on rereading that one before I jump into this one. I need to finish a 700-page book that I'm in the middle of right now, but right after that I'm jumping into this. I don't think I can say too much since it's a duology, but it is a dark academia, dark romance book that takes place at a university in Scotland. And there are these two characters who find each other and they help each other in surprising ways. On paper, they should be enemies, but in reality, they're actually really good for each other. And I just really loved that. And I can't wait to see where she's gonna take it in the second book, because I loved them in the first one and I do remember it ending on a cliffhanger. So this has been one of my most highly anticipated reads of the year. Then this month, I think there are 2 books that I'm really looking forward to. One of them is The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater. So I'm a huge fan of the Raven Cycle, the books, and now they are being released in a graphic novel format, and I think it works so well. The first book was released last year and I gave that 5 stars too. Now the second one is coming out and I actually think the second book is my favorite, so I am so excited about this one. I feel like the artist of the graphic novel just nailed the aesthetic so well in her work and I cannot wait to dive into it again. For me, The Raven Cycle will always be an autumnal book, so I also feel like it's the perfect time now. And then Tara Dewitt is coming out with a new book called Lost and Found, and I believe this is the 3rd one in her series that takes place in Oregon. And it's a small town romance between a firefighter who's had some trauma after an accident and one of his friends who wants to have a kid. And that's all I know about it. I know that the firefighter, we know about him from the previous books because he is the brother of the characters from previous books. And he's always been kind of like sassy, happy-go-lucky guy, but then now after the accident, I think we will see a very different side to him, and I'm very excited to read that. I also think Tara Dewitt is just very good at pulling at people's heartstrings and creating characters that you really feel for. Like, they both pack a punch, but they're also like very romantic, and I just really am super excited for this one. And I love anything set in Oregon, so I am ready for this. Then in September, there's so many books. Like, first of all, there's one coming out the day before my birthday, and that is The Knave and the Moon by Rachel Gillick. So the first book came out, I think, 1 or 2 years ago, and now it's the second book. So again, it's a duology, so I feel like I can't say too much, but it is a fantasy book with a unique setting and 2 main characters that you really are rooting for and that have great chemistry. And it's really hard to explain this book, actually. I don't think I've read anything like it before, but I'm really excited to see where the story goes. Then on September 8th, Love Felt Like This by Julie Olivia comes out. Julie Olivia is the author of If It Makes You Happy, that came out last year, and I think that was my favorite romance in the second half of the year. Like, that book felt like watching a rom-com, so I have no doubt that the same thing is going to happen here. And I'm just going to read like the very small blurb here, but it says, a grumpy rock star and a joyful children's show created revive television magic in this cozy small town romance. And what I think this author does so well is create very vivid scenes that are so easy to picture and that just really feel like a warm hug. Like, you can almost smell autumn in the air when you read her books. And I am just so excited because I already know that her book from last year is going to be a reread for me, like every single autumn, maybe just because I loved it so much. And I am in no doubt that I'm going to love this one too. Also, I feel like this cover is definitely very loosely, maybe not loosely, but like very inspired by Taylor Swift, right? Like, the girl looks like Taylor Swift and the guy kind of looks like Hosier. I don't know if that's just me, but yeah, still makes me really excited about it. Then we have on the 15th, both Grim Tidings by B.K. Borison and Deadbeat by Leigh Bardugo. So I'm going to talk about Deadbeat first. So it's going to be the 3rd book in her Ninth House series. And it's been so long since I read these, so I might have to reread the first 2 books in order to jump into it, because I think there are a lot of details, but it's a dark academia book and like very focused on dark. Like, there are secret societies, There are ghosts, there are spirits, there are like evilness, devils, monsters. Like it just has everything in true Leigh Bardugo style. And I have no idea where she's going to take us on this journey. So I'm very excited about that. And then for B.K. Borison's book, I'm just going to read the blurb as well. Grim Tidings is a new whimsical haunting romance. When a runaway grim reader tries to save a life, she clashes with a skeptical guardian, forcing them to form an unlikely partnership beyond the grave. It sounds so good. So this is the second book in her series called Ghosted. The first one was Good Spirits. That was kind of a Christmas book, so I'm hoping this is maybe more of an autumnal book since it's being released at this time of the year. But I love the cover and I really think I'm gonna love this book. In general, I really enjoy B.K. Borison's books, so I'm in no doubt that it will be the same for this one. And then I have two more books, one in October, and that is Victorious by V.E. Schwab. So I love V.E. Schwab. I've almost given all of her books 6 stars, and Vicious and Vengeful, which are the first 2 books in this series, are some of my all-time favorite books. Like they are my go-to books when people ask me for book recommendations, because I feel like these books will be something for everyone. So I cannot believe we're getting a 3rd book. I think we all kind of thought this was going to be a duology because it's been years since the first 2 books were released, but now we're getting a 3rd one, and I will for sure have to reread the first 2 books. I've been meaning to do a reread for so many years now, but I'm just not ready to become the person that I know I'll be when I read these books because they take up like all my mind. And I just remember reading them in like 2 days, and I just had to talk about them with someone all the time. Like they were just my every thought, and I just think it's one of the best book series ever written. I'm just gonna read the blurb for you, but it says, Eli Ever, Victor Vale. 2 men, first best friends, then mortal enemies, each destined to be the other's shadow. One left standing, but the game isn't over yet. Against all the years and the odds, a group of allies and arch rivals meet on a chessboard set by an opponent they couldn't have predicted to see who will be victorious. Dum dum dum! I feel like I can't say too much other than this either, because like that would be a huge spoiler for the first 2 books. But if you haven't read them, please pick them up. They are so incredibly good. And I would say no matter what genre you're normally into, read those books. V.E. Schwab just has such a way with words, and she is the queen of creating morally great characters that you will end up loving. So highly recommend them. And then I actually forgot there's another book that's coming out in August that I just stumbled upon yesterday on Instagram by an author I haven't read before, but it's the book called She Haunts Me Still by D. Elizabeth. Her blurb for the book is a dark academia novel about doomed theater performers whose fates are tragically linked by a curse dating back to the New England vampire panic. And if you need to know one thing about me, it's that my favorite mythical creatures are by far vampires. I love vampire stories in general. I love things that are set in New England because that is just peak autumn for me. And then I love dark academia books. So that was all I needed to know about this book in order to pre-order it. I think it's going to be a really good book for the colder months. And I'm just always here for a vampire book in general. So those are the books that I'm super excited about. I hope you got some inspiration. And if there's some books that are on your radar that you think I'm going to like, then please let me know. I would love to hear that. And other than that, I will see you in my next video. Bye!